believe what I just saw?
Berra, Mantle, Maris, Ford. Names that struck fear into the hearts of every team in baseball. The Lords of the Diamond, the Emperors of the American League, the New York Yankees. But on October 5th, 1960, in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, a band of unlikely heroes stared down these baseball giants and refused to bow. The 1960 Pirates didn't just want to compete, they wanted to shock the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to David vs. Goliath Baseball Edition. In the blue corner, wearing pinstripes and roughly 1 million championships, the New York Yankees, a team so dominant they might as well have owned the World Series trophy outright. And in the black and gold corner, the Pittsburgh Pirates, a scrappy collection of ballplayers who hadn't tasted championship glory since Calvin Coolidge was president. The same Pirates who just a year earlier couldn't even see first place with a telescope. What followed wasn't just a World Series, it was a 7-game war that would produce the most statistically improbable championship in baseball history and culminate in a moment that would echo through the ages. This is the story of how a team of underdogs looked baseball royalty in the eye and didn't blink. For those of you watching who lived through this 1960 Fall Classic, think back. What was going through your mind as October approached? Were you one of the millions of baseball fans across America who'd grown tired of watching those pinstripe pricks parade through the Canyon of Heroes? Did you look at Grote, Clemente, and this band of Pittsburgh underdogs and dare to believe they could dethrone baseball's juggernaut? Or did you simply sigh and mutter, well, here comes another Yankees championship? The Yankees roster wasn't just stacked, it was mythological. Mickey Mantle, the Commerce Comet, a baseball immortal who crushed 40 home runs while coming off his 8th straight All-Star and MVP seasons, capable of shattering scoreboards from either side of the plate. Roger Maris, the quiet assassin, poised on the edge of immortality, just months away from dethroning the great Bambino himself. Yogi Berra, the Sphinx behind the plate, a human winning machine with 8 championship rings already weighing down his fingers. And Whitey Ford, the chairman of the mound, a cold-blooded artist who painted corners with surgical precision, leaving American League hitters baffled and broken. This wasn't just a team, it was a baseball wrecking ball designed to demolish everything in its path. Then there were the Pirates. They had talent, certainly, but of a different kind. Dick Grote won the National League MVP that year, hitting a league-leading .325, though he hit just 2 home runs all season. Roberto Clemente, at 25, was excellent, but not yet the legend he would become. The Pirates weren't built on power. They relied on batting average, defense, and timely hitting. The Pirates' best pitcher, Vern Law, had won 20 games and the Cy Young Award. Their bullpen was anchored by Roy Face, whose forkball made him one of the most effective relievers in baseball. Face appeared in 68 games, an extraordinary workload for that era. Beyond these stars, the Pirates featured solid professionals rather than headline grabbers. The odds were clearly stacked against Pittsburgh. Vegas made the Yankees 7-3 favorites, and even Pittsburgh's hometown newspapers wondered if their team could avoid embarrassment. The historical contrast was stark. The Pirates hadn't won a championship since 1925, while the Yankees were pursuing their 19th title. On paper, this was David versus Goliath, and few gave David much of a chance. Game 1 at Forbes Field immediately flipped the script. The Pirates beat the Yankees 6-4, with Bill Mazeroski hitting a 2-run homer and Roy Face closing out the game, despite a Yankees rally in the 9th. Pirates fans dared to believe this series might be competitive after all. Casey Stengel made a decision that would be questioned for decades. He didn't start his ace Whitey Ford in Game 1, saving him for Game 3 instead. This strategic choice would prove costly. Game 2 showed why the Yankees were so feared. They demolished the Pirates 16-3, with Mickey Mantle hitting 2 home runs as part of a 19-hit barrage. The Yankees looked like the powerhouse everyone expected, and order seemed restored. For Game 3 at Yankee Stadium, things got even worse for Pittsburgh. Whitey Ford threw a 4-hit shutout while Bobby Richardson hit a grand slam in the first inning. The Yankees won 10-0, and Richardson drove in 6 runs, setting a World Series record. The Pirates seemed completely overmatched, trailing 2-1 in the series and being outscored 30-9. Just when everyone was ready to write off the Pirates, they fought back with a 3-2 win in Game 4. Vern Law pitched effectively and helped his own cause by doubling in a run. This tied the series 2-2, creating a fascinating contrast. The series was even despite the Yankees' massive scoring advantage. Game 5 saw the Pirates take a 3-2 series lead with a 5-2 win behind Harvey Haddix and closer Roy Face. Face had now saved 3 games in the series, becoming a key figure in Pittsburgh's success despite the Yankees' offensive superiority. Game 6 back at Forbes Field was a complete reversal. The Yankees won 12-0 behind Whitey Ford's second shutout of the series. The Yankees collected 17 hits and scored in 5 different innings, including a 5-run third that removed any doubt about the outcome. After 6 games, the Yankees had outscored the Pirates 46-17, yet somehow the series was tied 3-3. The pattern was clear. When the Yankees won, they won big. When the Pirates won, they squeaked by. It set the stage for a Game 7 that nobody could predict. Game 7, October 13th, 1960, a day that would become legendary in baseball history. Casey Stengel started Bob Turley instead of bringing back Whitey Ford on short rest, another pitching decision that would be debated for years to come. The Pirates jumped out to a 2-0 lead when Rocky Nelson homered in the first inning. Nelson, a 35-year-old veteran who had spent much of his career in the minor leagues, picked the perfect moment to deliver. By the second inning, it was 4-0 Pirates after Bill Verdon's 2-run single. Forbes Field was electric with possibility. The Yankees, being the champions they were, began to rally. Bill Skowron homered in the 5th to make it 4-1. Then came the pivotal 6th inning when the Yankees scored 4 runs, capped by Yogi Berra's 3-run homer that turned a 4-1 deficit into a 5-4 lead. The momentum had completely shifted. The Yankees extended their lead to 7-4 in the 8th with RBIs from Johnny Blanchard and Clete Boyer. The natural order seemed to be reasserting itself. Pirates fans were preparing for disappointment as their team was just 6 outs from elimination. But then the bottom of the 8th happened and baseball history changed. Gino Cimoli singled, and then Bill Verdon hit what should have been a double play ball. Instead, it took a bad hop and hit Tony Kubek in the throat. Kubek had to leave the game, and suddenly there were runners on first and second with nobody out. Dick Groat singled to load the bases, and Roberto Clemente beat out an infield single to make it 7-6. Then came a moment nobody saw coming. Hal Smith, a backup catcher who was only in the game because starter Smokey Burgess had been pinch run for earlier, launched a 3-run homer to put the Pirates up 9-7. Forbes Field erupted. For a moment, it looked like the Pirates had pulled off the miracle, but the Yankees weren't finished. In the top of the 9th, they scored twice to tie it at 9-9. Mickey Mantle made a heads-up play to dive back to first on a grounder, saving the tying run and showing why he was one of the game's smartest players. Bottom of the 9th, tie game, and Bill Mazeroski stepped to the plate. Mazeroski, known primarily for his defensive skills, had hit just 11 home runs all season. Yankees pitcher Ralph Terry threw his 4th pitch, and Mazeroski connected. The ball sailed toward left field. Yogi Berra, playing out of position in left field, drifted back to the wall, watching helplessly as the ball cleared the ivy-covered barrier. Forbes Field erupted in complete pandemonium. Mazeroski rounded the bases with childlike joy, leaping and celebrating as he approached home plate where his teammates waited to mob him. It remains the only walk-off home run to win a Game 7 in World Series history. Another remarkable footnote: not a single strikeout was recorded by either team in Game 7, the only time in postseason history this has happened. The aftermath of this series was significant for both franchises. Despite playing for the losing team, Bobby Richardson was named World Series MVP after hitting .367 with 12 RBIs. It's the only time in history that a player from the losing team has received this honor. For Casey Stengel, this would be his final World Series as the Yankees manager. Despite his incredible record of 10 pennants and 7 World Series titles in 12 years, the Yankees dismissed him after the season. His famous response, "I'll never make the mistake of turning 70 again." For Bill Mazeroski, that one swing defined his entire career. He would go on to win 8 Gold Gloves and make the Hall of Fame as one of the best defensive second basemen ever. But that home run became his signature moment. Today, a statue of him outside PNC Park commemorates that historic swing. An interesting footnote to this story emerged decades later. The complete broadcast of Game 7 was discovered in 2009 in Bing Crosby's wine cellar. Crosby, a part owner of the Pirates, was too nervous to watch the game live, so he was in Paris listening on the radio. He had arranged for the game to be recorded so he could watch later if they won. The recording sat untouched for 49 years before being discovered, a perfect time capsule of one of baseball's greatest moments. The 1960 World Series also marked the end of one era and the beginning of another. The Yankees would return to the World Series in 1961 with a new manager, Ralph Houck, but the dynasty was beginning to show cracks. The Pirates wouldn't return to the World Series until 1971, when they would win again with Clemente leading the way and Mazeroski still playing second base. The 1960 Pittsburgh Pirates accomplished what seemed impossible, defeating the mighty Yankees despite being outscored 55-27 across 7 games. it remains the most statistically improbable championship in World Series history. This series reminds us why we love sports. On paper, matchups can appear completely lopsided, but games aren't decided by statistics alone. Sometimes heart, timing, and a bit of luck can overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The 1960 Pirates didn't just win a championship, they created a legacy that continues to inspire underdogs everywhere. What's your favorite underdog story in sports history? Drop it in the comments below. Does any upset top the 60 Pirates shocking the Yankees? Kinda hard to compete with this one. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next exploration of baseball's greatest moments. Thanks for watching.